Okay, so you worked on Dark Age of Camelot.
Yes.
And what was your role in Dark Age of Camelot?
I started off doing itemization and then moved over to doing subclassing and then doing full-on class balance and working on expansions like...
Which was the hardest thing to do, basically.
Yeah, it was really tough. And then doing like a Labyrinth of the Minotaur, added in the Mauler and the new race there too.
And now you are the lead PvP designer in the Elder Scrolls Online, which is something which has a lot of elements that could be seen as a kind of a spiritual successor to the Dark Age of Camelot. So what can an old Dark Age of Camelot player like me expect from the PvP and the RV, let's say RVR between big quotes, in Elder Scrolls Online?
There are a lot of cues that are taken from Dark Age as well as Warhammer and looking out at what other games are out there in general. A lot of things you're going to see that are familiar are using rams to attack the doors, taking down walls, and a sense of ownership very much in the case of we give you keeps by default. There's about 18 of them out there and 6 of them are in alliances by default, so when somebody comes and takes your keep, there's a sense of I need to get that back and then take yours back in revenge. There's something a little bit different about it though, where when a keep flips, you don't need to kill a monster to do it like you did in Dark Age of Warhammer or some other MMOs out there. It's very similar to you take a banner that's in a keep and you stand near it and then it slowly flips over to your side, so that sort of cues from first-person shooters out there.
Yes.
So it's going to be familiar but also has some new mechanics.
It's more player-driven than just going there and...
Now there are guards that do defend keeps while you're asleep.
Of course. So if there is no one in the keep, it's going to be easy to take.
Yeah, when you take a keep, we have the timing down to about now of taking an undefended keep with somewhere around 15 people. It takes about 10 to 12 minutes, and that's pretty accurate to what the timing was in
Is the faction that owns the keep going to be warned in some way?
Right, there will be warnings which go out to the map, and also warnings about to the guild. We're working on how those warnings will be displayed right now. The one which we know is a standard will be on the map. When a keep gets under attack, it lights up behind it. So
no ninja attacking keeps.
Right, yeah, you'll know when a keep is getting hit. Regardless of whether your guild owns it or
no 2 AMs, right? Right.
Well, the 2 AM stuff can occur because you may be asleep.
Yeah, but there is mega servers though.
Yeah, the way it works is that campaigns are split. Sorry, Cyrodiil's put into campaigns, and there are many copies of Cyrodiil that you can associate yourself with one. And when you're associated with it, that's where you get your bonuses from, and that's where you get all your messages from. Unless you're visiting another campaign. If you were assigned to one campaign, you come visit me in mine, then you'll get messages about my campaign.
Yes. So in the end, are the campaigns like kind of separated by region or country? Is there some kind of
the servers in general? There's North American, European, and then there's all the console servers get their own as well. You can always play on. I think you can sign up.
So there is there is different mega servers for the US and Europe.
As far as I know.
Okay. I didn't know that. So sorry.
We want to make sure that the latency is as low as it can possibly be, and the only way really to do that is to make sure.
But you can still sign up to the region you want.
I think you can. You can just make an account for that.
There is no IP block.
Not that I know of.
I'm Italian. I like to play with American people.
And we get the opposite. We get the Americans like to play on the Europeans.
Really? Well, anyway, something that's very important to me is the tree faction, which is almost an auto-balancing
very much
mechanic. Were the three factions in the game itself, in general, decided instrumentally for the PvP version, for the PvP aspect of the game, or it was the other way around, basically with the three faction deciding the PvP?
All I know is when I got to the studio about 4.5 years ago, 3 sides had already been decided by Matt,
of course.
And Matt worked on Dark Age, so he had the PvP
Map is Dark Age of Camelot.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know whether he made the decision for PvP or not, but it suits PvP perfectly. I know that 3 sides fits very well for the content because then you can play through all the factions when you roll 50+ too. But 3 sides really is just it makes the PvP so much better.
Yeah, definitely. Is there any out-balancing way besides the fact that it's 3 factions?
There are some measures that are taken into account based on the score of the campaign that you're in. So if one alliance has a astronomical score compared to the other 2 alliances, I'll give the bottom 2 alliances a bonus towards their scoring against the side which has the most points. So if you take a keep from Ebonheart, for example, if they had the overwhelming score, you got more points for taking keeps from them. Not so much by taking keeps from the other partner who is also getting the bonus. There's also some population things we're looking at right now as well, for also triggering some form of you're underpopulated, therefore you get some form of a bonus to combat against them.
Another little thing, is there any in-game way to actually ally with another faction, or are you considering it?
No, there's no way we want to have like in-game alliance. Like you can be in a guild which has players from other alliances, but when you're in Cyrodiil, your alliance is who you're loyal to, and you kill the other 2 alliances.
So if I want to, like, if I'm from one faction, I cannot in any way be allied with another faction.
The only thing you can do is, like, hey, don't kill me. That's as good as you can get per allying. There's no system to do it.
Is there inter-faction communication? Like,
there
can
are.
you talk with them? So
because the game is being built to be a very social game, there are various rule sets we allow in Cyrodiil. One is, no restriction in terms of who you can talk to. You can type messages and say, and they can't be read by the other guys, but you may be able to send a tell to somebody if you know if you're like you're friended with them in real life. There is another rule set where it blocks that entirely. Whether you are in their guild or whether you are their account friend or anything, it's flat out, you can't talk with them. If I was friends with you if our accounts were friended, if we were in that campaign, we couldn't talk to each other, period. But if we were in a different campaign, we will allow that communication just because the game is trying to be a very social game and cater to many audiences. Plus, it handles a lot of customer service issues. If there's an issue where somebody accuses somebody of cheating, you can see, well, are you signed up for a campaign which does or doesn't allow that type of communication?
Yes.
And if you're in one which doesn't, then it gives them a branch to possibly investigate it. But if you're in one which does allow cross communication, it's like, well, that's that type of campaign. So if you want to be in a different one, sign up for it.
That depends on the campaign you're subscribed to.
Right, yeah, and you can assign yourself to various campaign styles. One can be like the non-communication, one can be standard. We're looking at doing various campaigns which are like weekend-only events and possibly week-long events. Campaigns will usually go around 30 days to 60 days long in duration, but they don't reset. The only thing which resets is the score. There's no, like, I couldn't imagine anything more frustrating than being in the middle of a keep raid and the mark hits and then it resets everything. I would be furious. So there's no resetting like that. The only thing which resets are the leaderboards for that campaign and whatever sort of score was currently in that campaign.
So I'm a big role player. Okay. Is there going to be a campaign built for role players, like, for instance, with the ability to talk with the?
I don't know if we're going to be doing many support for like role play as a hard and fast rule set.
Yes.
There will be people which will designate this campaign is a role play campaign where we can all go. That's just something which occurs socially, which has happened on many servers. In other games, they've said, well, let's just make that a role play server, and people who flock to it as role players. I don't think we're going to do any hard and fast rules for that for campaigns.
Okay, last question. We talked about what makes the PvP in the Elder Scrolls Online similar to Dark Age of Camelot. What makes it really, really unique?
Really unique. I think the fact that breaking down all the walls is possible. The fact that the weaponry is much more deadly in this game. We telegraph where a trebuchet or where a catapult or ballista shot is going to land.
Don't stand in the bed.
You are going to get nailed. It will pretty much it won't outright kill you. It'll take your damage to your health down very far. And then depending upon the ammo that was in it, let's say if it was a fireball from a treb, it's going to start to take away your health unless you get healed, and then you're more than likely going to die.
Yeah, because I remember Dark Age of Camelot, you had to hit people a lot of times with the catapult.
So I think some of the other great aspects is that everybody can sneak, everybody can stealth. It just depends on how you spec your character. There's a very big chess game there in terms of, well, you spec like this, so I spec like that. That's familiar to Dark Age, but also brand new to a lot of people. And the fact that when you flip the keep to your alliance, you need to repair whatever you broke. So the more prudent people will be like, let's just use a ram, go through the door, go through the second door, get in there, and let's do the least amount of damage possible. But that also opens up a lot of economic battles where you just go to a keep and you're there with you and your buddy and just blow away the walls. You know, you have no intention of flipping it. You just want to drain their economy. So that out there is really cool too.
Yes. Bonus question. Since we talked about everyone can stealth, do you expect to have a lot of stealth trains? Remember them?
I think we have mile gates and bridges set up much in the same vein that they were in Dark Age, where the territories are sectioned off. It's still one zone, but there are lots of impassable territory except for 3 separate locations. The mile gates, I expect stealthers to go there. The bridges, I expect stealthers to go there, right? I mean, in playtests back at the studio, that's already happening. So when we have that occur in beta and when we ship, that's going to be even more better.
So it's something that you encourage and embrace.
Oh, yeah, I love seeing the stealthers out there. I mean, I used to play as a stealther, so I know all about that aspect. Like, that's what a solo player does in PvP. They look for the people to kill, who are the stragglers, who are people doing quests, who are people that are just running to catch up with their buddies. When you do get jumped, it is not an alpha strike like it was prior in other games. Yeah, like if you hit somebody from stealth, they have a good opportunity to fight back. I've played stealthers in our game and non-stealthers in our game. And in Elder Scrolls, I've fought back and also gotten my ass kicked.
So you can make it, because if you were jumped in Dark Age of Camelot, for instance, you were dead.
It was pretty rough, yeah. But I think
almost dead, let's say.
Me and Nick, our main combat designer, we talk back and forth about what is a proper ratio for people to kill other people, what's the proper timings, and we've been nailing that down more and more as we progress closer and closer to our ship date.
Yes. Well, thank you very much.